You can train 3 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you'll make next to no body composition progress if you fail to address your nutrition. Muscles require three things: stimulus, rest, and protein. Just that miss alone, not getting enough protein, can keep you spinning your wheels for years. I want to tell you a story about one of my clients. His name is Phil. Phil trained at Sasquatch for about a year before he found our nutrition department. Okay? During this year of training, Phil was coming in consistently 5 to 6 times a week. I think his average was actually like 5.5. So it was like right around there. Okay? A year's worth of training, 5.5 being his average attendance per week. And he made decent progress, marginal progress. Okay. He gained a little bit of muscle. Obviously, he got way stronger in that year of training, right? Your central nervous system's learning how to move. You're more competent and more capable, right? So he did see some tremendous progress from that perspective. He plays soccer and he felt like he was playing way better. He lost a little bit of fat, call it 4, 5, 6 pounds in the first couple months, and then it just kind of stabilized. And kind of the same thing happened to his muscle. He gained a little bit of muscle and then it just kind of plateaued. And he stayed there for a long time, not really knowing how to move things forward. Until one day, he saw one of our videos on nutrition coaching and he decided, screw it, I'll take a chance on it. Okay? He started working with one of our nutrition coaches. Over the course of the next 6 months, Phil made, I think, like 5 or 6 times more progress than he made in that entire year that he had prior. Okay? The big difference, the big delta, is somebody was working with him on his food. When we're trying to build muscle, we're trying to lose fat, most people tend to think, oh, I just need to exercise. If I just exercised, everything else would be taken care of. And the reality is they have that pretty backwards. Exercise is super important. It has a tremendous number of benefits. I want you guys to exercise. Particularly, I want you guys to strength train. But if we're talking specifically about body composition changes, reducing fat mass, increasing muscle mass, it is inferior to you taking care of your nutrition. Nutrition is about 70% of those results. Okay? And the reason being, everything that happens on the exercise side, right, the building of that muscle, is going to happen based on whether we have the tools on the nutrition side to build that muscle or not. I get lots and lots of customers that come from an Indian background or on a vegan or vegetarian diet. They oftentimes tell me that they've been strength training for years and they just can't put muscle on. Quick auditing of their nutrition on a daily basis tells me that they're just not getting enough protein. Sometimes it really is that simple. Sometimes it's not. There's nuance to it. This isn't super cookie cutter, but if we're trying to paint in broad strokes and be like, okay, what is true for 95% of people is if you're not getting enough protein on a daily basis and you're training and you're not gaining muscle, it's probably because you're not getting enough protein. It can be that simple. So, a couple months of working with Phil, and we were able to do a couple things. One, we were able to find how to get his protein intake at the right level for his goals with his schedule and his limitations. So, Phil, not a big dairy guy, right? So, that was a challenge in some ways. He didn't particularly like protein powders, right? He didn't want to supplement in that way. So, we had to find all natural ways to supplement his protein, and we did that. Didn't happen right away. Took a couple of weeks of trial and error to see what worked. But that's why you hire a team of people that are going to be able to help you through something like that. But at the end of that journey, at the end of those 6 months that we worked with Phil, he lost another 18 pounds of fat mass and he gained another 8.5 pounds of muscle. Unbelievably better results than he got when he was just doing the training, and he did it in half the time. So, for those of you out there that are trying to make meaningful body composition changes, I'm not trying to steer you away from exercise. I definitely want you to strength train, but recognize that 70 plus percent of those results are going to come down to the food that you put in your mouth. And you need an expert to help you not only figuring out what that food needs to be or what the quantities are, but how to make it work for your lifestyle. You, my busy executive dad with, 40, 50, 60 hours worth of work to do a week for Amazon, are going to have a very different program than my stay at home mom or vice versa. Okay. You guys need to find something that is able to adapt to you because your lifestyle is not going to change in all likelihood. Okay? If I could make you quit Amazon, I would, but I can't. So instead, we got to work with you. That's why you need some experts. Okay. And real quick, because I get this a lot, sometimes people will tell me, hey, I've got my nutrition dialed in, or I don't have to worry about that. I eat all my meals at home. I hardly go out, or I eat tons of veggies. No worries. My nutrition's perfect. If you are unhappy with your body composition right now, meaning you're carrying more fat than you want to, or you're not carrying as much muscle as you'd want to, or any health markers are in the red, meaning your HDL or your LDLs are out of whack, your cholesterol is high, your A1C is high, you're anywhere near the pre diabetic spectrum. I'm not talking like, oh no, I'm not pre diabetic yet. I'm talking like anywhere near the negative side of that spectrum, not fully in the green. You do not have your nutrition diet. So let's just get that out of the way. There is lots of progress to be made in that area. Don't fool yourself or throw that wrench in here and be like, this isn't for me. I promise there is so much benefit for you waiting on the other side of you learning and working with a professional on this just a little bit. It's not forever. You're not going to have a coach for 10 years. You're going to have a coach for 6 months, and it's going to change the rest of your life. So if you're still here, practical advice for what to do about this. Okay. You got the story. Maybe you're motivated. Maybe you're ready to kick some butt and take control of your nutrition and start getting some progress. First thing, get a nutrition coach. Okay. This stuff is very different for everybody. Depending on where you're at, depending on what you need, depending on the progress you're trying to make in your timeline, things change. So, what I want you to go find is a nutrition coach. I'm using those words very specifically. I don't want you to go find a nutritionist and I don't want you to go find a dietitian. Those people, they have their place, generally is a medical approach to nutrition. What they're going to do is deal with people with eating disorders and things like that. Very appropriate for that. It's outside the scope of work of a nutrition coach. But a nutrition coach, for somebody that's trying to make a behavioral change, for somebody that's trying to fix their attitude and their relationship with food and get to a place where they know what to eat, when to eat, how to eat when they travel, how to eat when they're at work. A nutrition coach, that's what they specialize in. Okay. So you're looking for somebody with that designation. I particularly love nutrition coaches from the precision nutrition background. You're looking for at least a level 2 coach. That's their master level coach. And they're going to be able to help you through this. A board certified health and nutrition coach is also something that you can look for. Okay? So look for one of those two designations. Again, the caveat here, it's not about the information that they give you. That part is stupid simple. You can spend 20 minutes with ChatGPT and it'll write you a perfect diet, and you will not do it. And you've probably tried it before. It's not the information, it's practically applying that information in your life for you specifically. How did I get Phil to eat enough protein while he was working at Google? How did I do that? That iterative approach where you hire a team and they help you figure out, okay, here's version 1 of this solution. Didn't work? Cool. Let's go to version 2. Didn't work? Let's go to version 3. Version 3 worked? Amazing. Let's move on to the next thing. That process, that's where the value is. Okay. It's the team of people that are going to help you get through the hurdles, not the cookie cutter program that's going to like give you a one size fits all solution. And if it doesn't work, you got to throw the whole thing in the trash. Okay. So get a coach. If for whatever reason you are unable to do that, I'm going to give you some basic guidelines. Okay? I want you to take these guidelines with a grain of salt. They're a starting place. They are not an end all be all, but they will get you moving in the right direction. Okay? And really, what we're going to dial in right now is just two things: how much protein should you eat in a day, and how many calories should you eat in a day for your goals. Okay? So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to, and maybe spend some time with ChatGPT or Claude or whoever you like, figuring out what this ideal weight might be for you. You can get an in-body scan or a DEXA, even better. Okay. But let's say you are currently 250 pounds and you want to get down to about 200 pounds. And you have determined that that is a reasonable outcome for you. Okay. Fact check that a little bit. I don't want you to be in la la land when you make this decision because then everything else will kind of fall apart. But just broad strokes, 250 pounds down to 200. You're going to take that goal weight in pounds, 200 pounds. And the way you're going to figure out your protein is to multiply that by between zero point 0.8 and 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight. Okay. So for a 200-pound target, it would be zero point 0.8 times 200 is 160, or 1 times 200 is 200. So between 160 and 200 grams of protein. Okay. The way you're going to pick one versus the other is really more about working your way up to it. If you're not eating a ton of protein right now, going from 50 or 80 grams of protein to 200 might be a little too difficult. So maybe start at zero point 0.8 and work your way up to 1. But eventually, we want to be around that 1 gram of protein per desired pound of body weight. So that's going to be your protein. And your calorie estimate is going to be something similar. We're going to take that 200 number, okay? And then we're going to multiply it by between 10 and 12, okay? So it would be 10 times 200 is 2,000 calories, and 12 times 200 is 2,400 calories. The way you're going to determine which of those numbers you're going to pick has to do with how much activity you do on a daily basis, okay? There's three thresholds, really. There's little to no activity, there's moderate activity, and there's tons of activity. Okay. Obviously corresponds to 10, 11, or 12 as our multiplier. Low activity is the vast majority of you guys. Low activity means you work a desk job just like this. You're sitting in front of a computer all day long. And then maybe you get up and do some amount of exercise. Generally speaking, if you're working out less than 3 times a week, consistently, I mean, at least an hour of exercise, you would be considered a no or low activity person. Okay. Once you get past that, so maybe sedentary job plus at least 4 to 5 hours of activity per week. So that could be 3 hours of weightlifting plus an hour or two of doing some sort of sport. Maybe you go play soccer, you play some pickup basketball. I don't know what you guys are into. Then you're considered a moderately active person. You would use that 11 multiplier. And a highly active person or an extremely active person, that is going to be somebody that works a physical job. So if you are not a preschool teacher running around after kids all day long or a construction worker, don't pick a 12 modifier. It's going to make it a little bit harder for you to get the intended result that you're looking for. So that's it, guys. If you have that baseline protein number plus those calories, you've got a really great place to start. Obviously, if you need a little bit of help, look at the channel. There's lots of other videos you can watch, or you can reach out to our team. We'd be happy to help. If you found this interesting, click on this other video, and I'll see you in the next one.